Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to BG Bios. I'm Caleb, or Duban as I'm known in the Discord. I'll be King Nerd Boy in the chat in Twitch if I happen to talk there. 3 names is confusing, but we'll have to live with it. Thanks for joining us this evening. We're going to be chatting with another one of our server moderators tonight. If you happen to think of anything that I don't manage to ask and you want to ask it, drop it in the Twitch chat. I'll add those questions whenever I can. We've already got an active chat, so that's fantastic. Thank y'all for coming tonight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the easy questions per usual. What is your name and what are your pronouns?
Oh God, I forgot. No, I'm Joe. I'm Scyther21 on the Discord, and my pronouns are he/him.
And what are you going to be playing this evening?
This is Civilization 6. I'm playing Byzantium, which was just added in the Frontier Pass last week, I think.
Ooh, nice. All right, looking forward to it. So, as tradition now dictates for my icebreaker, I'll start off with a few sets of rapid fire questions. So you'll just answer as quickly as you can. Say the first thing that comes to mind. I'll give you a breather in between each set. I've got 3 of them, which is the norm. I've become far too predictable.
Thank you.
But all right, take a deep breath and we'll launch right in. Who's your least favorite hero in Heroes of the Storm?
Mal'Ganis.
What's your D&D class?
Sorcerer.
Toilet paper over or under?
Over.
What do you play? Support, tank, or DPS?
DPS.
What's the all-time best video of a game character? Quickly.
Shit. Pikachu.
Where were you? What tasks were you doing?
Electrical, and I died.
Perfect. All right, that's the end of the first set.
Yay, one down.
Hey, I had to manage to sneak an Among Us meme in, so that's where that made it. All right, take a deep breath. We'll start the second set here in a second. And what's the worst dessert?
Does not compute. Are there bad desserts? I don't. Anything with cottage cheese. If you're one of those people who like take cottage cheese and tries to like put fruit in it and say that tastes good, that's bad.
All right then. Do you have a favorite appetizer?
Yes.
What is it?
I mean, I typically get like mozzarella sticks, but like I like chicken boneless wings too.
Okay. If someone named a mixed drink after you, what would be in it? Ooh,
that's hard. Well, like my go-to is butterscotch liqueur with what's the stuff that Tim, where are you? Butterscotch liqueur would be in it. It's the fucking shit. Sorry, I swear a lot. So if that comes out on the stream, I apologize. I make them all the time, and I can't remember because I'm old. But butterscotch and the other stuff. Bailey's.
Oh, okay. Tim provided peach schnapps in the chat.
No, that's the stuff that
was not what you were looking for.
That curdles it. Don't do that.
Which goes in first, the milk or the cereal?
The cereal.
What's the worst salad topping?
Pine nuts.
What's your favorite food you can make in a microwave?
I'm bad. See, this is not rapid fire at all. Pizza rolls. Let's use those.
Okay, good answer. That's the end of the second set.
Okay.
To be fair, if you had a mixed drink named after you, what would be in it is not a fair rapid fire question. That's an intentional derail. Because nobody's like, here's my mixed drink. I have it memorized.
I have a go-to.
Not no one, maybe, but not most people.
I can think of people that probably do. People put pine nuts in the salad. I've seen it, and it's gross.
was going to read that off to you, so that's perfect. Yeah, that does sound horrifying, though I don't even know that I properly know what a pine nut is now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, they're those little... never mind.
It's unimportant. All right, last set of these. What's the most important piece of furniture in your home?
My computer turn.
Do you have a favorite font?
Yeah, I like Calibri.
Oxford comma, yeah or nay?
Absolutely. And anyone who thinks otherwise, like a certain interviewer,
Wrong answer. What's your favorite color?
blue.
Ignoring COVID, if you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go?
Stumped.
Rapid fire, come on.
I know. I would go to Japan.
What's the best Discord react?
Oh no, that's tough. I think our BG, the upvote that we have, is just so versatile.
Okay, that's good. That has to be one of the most used reacts in the server, I believe. I have a trader in the chat who says Team Oxford comma, so that's
Thank you.
we're going to ignore that.
Yeah, the orange up arrow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right.
Although I'll give honorable mention to Snurk because that gets a lot of good use.
I was anticipating you might provide neutral face as your favorite.
Oh,
that is yeah,
yeah,
that is your distinct react. If I see neutral face,
puns. There you go, Jordan. You got your shout out.
There's just certain reacts that when you see them, you know who left them, even without looking at it. And the neutral face is like, I know that was Joe before I even look at who left it.
That's fair. I'm glad I have some identifying features.
All right. So let's dig in and talk a little bit about you. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Born in a small town called Medina, New York, which is, if you know where like Buffalo, New York is, like all the way over, it's kind of that way, but not as far.
Got it. Okay. Did you grow up there as well?
Yeah, I did. Or... Sorry, I'm like, there's a part 2 of that question, and I forgot it. I grew up there. I was in Medina for first 4 years, then just outside of Medina for the next 4 years, and then I grew up from 8 to 18 in a town called Lyndonville, New York, which is equally small and about equally far from Buffalo and about the same place, just closer to Lake Ontario.
Gotcha. What do you think? What was it like where you grew up? How does it compare to Boston? What's different? Like,
it's different. What's the same?
That's an answer. What's it like? How would you describe it to someone that's never been there? What's the experience of living there like?
My house, like the house that my parents rented in Lyndonville, was a literal farm. There were cows like down past the barns, and there was corn growing out in the backfield. My sister and I would play in the corn and run around out there until we found spiders, and then never went back in there. So but yeah, it's rural as rural can be. There are literal Amish people in that area that lived like a few streets over, like, and rural few streets over is miles and miles and miles. But
sure.
Yeah, so no, there's definitely nothing like this, like Boston.
Good. What were you like as a kid? Are there any fun anecdotes about little Joe?
I was a brat. I mean, not that I'm much different now, but like, I never got along with my dad. I don't like authority figures. I don't like following rules, which is funny because I do like following rules. I just don't like following the ones I don't like. But if I can deal with any rule, I will follow it, and I'll be adamant about following rules I believe in. But ones that I don't, God, and my dad and I did not get along much. But yeah, I was rebellious, and I picked fights, but like, not that I was like all the time like a horrible person to be around. Like, my sister and me and my mom, like we all got along. And
gotcha.
I was not like the popular kid by any means. Like I had the typical like, oh, I'm the funny person, like fallback for people who weren't popular. So I did have that going for me. So I wasn't like bullied or anything, but I also like wasn't like, popular or cool, as the kids say.
Fair enough. Who all, I think you just answered this, but to just get it clear, who all was in your household growing up?
Yeah, it was my mom and my sister and my dad and me, and then whatever various pets happened to be alive at the time.
Who's older, you or your sister?
I'm older by 3.5 years.
Okay. That's a reasonable age difference. I guess that's
Yeah.
not like close enough to be best friends usually, but not.
Yeah, no, we actually get along super well now. I mean, we didn't
Good.
then, but like now
Sure.
we. I mean, for the sake, I don't want to give her any like ammunition, but I do enjoy her company.
This is going to be published somewhere later. She might see it.
I'll never tell her
What's your family like? How would you describe them? So we've heard a little bit about your sister, but otherwise,
Yeah, my mom is super. She's a lot like me. I mean, I'm very much my mother. She's also introverted. She doesn't like people. She's funny and fun to be around, and has a great sense of humor, and she's very caring, and she's an awesome person. I really love my mom. My dad is a douchebag, and we won't talk about him very much. Not that I have like I have. It's not like I have trauma. I just don't like him. So, so yeah, he. I have. I regretfully admit that there are parts of him in me too, like sarcasm and I don't know. That's about it. But yeah, he was there, and yeah. But no, my mom and my sister are the two I'm really closest to.
Gotcha. Okay. Do they still live back where you're from, or have they moved? Or
More or less, they still live in Western New York. They both live outside of Rochester, New York. Now I think Jenny, my sister, closer to Rochester, but Buffalo, not as far as Buffalo as Rochester. So like if they were in the middle of those two, they moved over to Rochester. So,
gotcha.
if anyone knows New York.
I'm sure someone out there knows.
Is
it's
Drew
close
in here?
enough.
Drew's from
Someone else is
Albany.
from there. That will do it. So how did you feel about school when you were growing up? Did you enjoy elementary, middle, or high school? What was the deal?
I loved school. Like I wanted to be a teacher. Like growing up, I was good at school. I did well in classes. I liked most of my classes. Like, yeah, I had good experiences. I mean, I wasn't like I'm not going to go into it again, but like I wasn't like super popular. But thanks to my friend Adam, like he was popular and he kind of pulled me in, so I was like popular adjacent by the time I got like into middle of like high school. So I had a decent social life, and I didn't go to parties or anything because I don't like going to parties even now. Like it's just not who I am. But
sure.
But I had friends and I hung out with people. And, like I had good experiences both socially and academically.
Fair enough. Did you were you interested in many extracurriculars? Was there anything you did, or was it pretty much just school and then?
A little bit. So as I progressed up, I started to do more of that kind of stuff. I joined like band. I play saxophone, and I did band starting in like I think fourth or fifth grade, and then all the way through college. I played in whatever like bands there were, and then I did tennis and golf. My later high school years.
Okay, cool. So where'd you go to college? You just mentioned that. That's what happened after high school, presumably.
Yep. Immediately the next year after high school, I went to Elmira College, which is in the southern tier of New York. It's on the kind of the border of Pennsylvania. Like the Great Lakes region, if you know where like Ithaca is, it's south of there.
Gotcha.
Small school.
What did you study?
Foreign language. I was a triple major. I did Spanish, French, and adolescent education because I thought I wanted to teach children, and I hate children, and so I don't do that. But I went to school for it.
How many languages do you speak?
English.
English.
So I studied those languages for a very long time, but the you don't use it, you lose it adage is very true. If I were to hear it in a movie or see it in a newspaper, I'd probably be able to make sense of French and Spanish just fine. I was probably fluent in French and Spanish about the time I was in college. I have studied Latin. I took a semester each of German and Italian. I taught myself some Japanese. So language is very much a part of who I am. I thought I might want to be a linguist at some point, but that never panned out because I'm very lazy and not very ambitious. So I have a lot of exposure to languages, but probably can't really carry a conversation in any of them.
That's reasonable. Corey expressed similar distaste for children in the chat,
I
which
just don't
I
have
also empathize
patience.
with.
Yeah. Like, look what I did, and okay, whatever.
And Headnisk is going to go off to do his Duolingo reps. So
Okay, don't let the owl get
you. Yeah. Really reasonable. What did you do after college? What was the next step?
So in college, in my senior year of college, I met a guy and I moved in with him after. So after that, I worked at a convenience store, and he was very ambitious and a good influence on me in some ways. He actually got me to enroll in substitute teaching in some of the nearby school districts, because I did still have my like certification for teaching. I still had all that background, and at the time I still thought it was what I wanted to do, so I thought that would be a good foot in the door thing. So I did substitute teaching, and then when I wasn't doing that, I worked at a gas station convenience store.
Gotcha. So we can kind of pivot and we can cover some ground by saying, what do you do now, and how did you get from there to here? Two different locations, two different sorts of things, right? Like, what's the journey there?
Yeah, it's a journey. So I did teach. I had an actual job as like a real teacher for 1 year. I taught 7th grade. And if you think you hate kids, 7th grade is the worst of them. So I taught 7th grade Spanish, and so as not a core subject, these kids don't give a damn about learning Spanish, and the teachers don't give a damn if these kids learn Spanish. And so it was like I felt I didn't have a lot of support. It was in like a city school district, and so it wasn't like I grew up in I went to Barker School, and like my graduating class was 70 kids, and like it was small and it was rural and everyone knew each other. We were all mostly friends. These kids are brats. There's hundreds of them, and like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out of my element in all ways, shapes, and forms. And so while I did do that for a year, after that I did not renew my contract. And wow, there's a lot. There's 10 years intervening between here and then. So after that, I didn't get another job. I got evicted from my apartment. I moved back in with my grandparents. In the meantime, the guy I was with, he went to the Peace Corps. We broke up. I dated a guy that I met in World of Warcraft. And we dated like a year and a half, but he lived in Atlanta. And so I did fly down, like we did meet each other in person a few times, but the long distance thing not pan out. So after that, I moved into my grandparents, like I said. And then that was like for a year, and they didn't want me to like live there forever and made that known. Not that we like I get along with my grandparents, but come on, like even I looking back now don't blame them for wanting me to move on. So my friend Adam, who I mentioned earlier, we're still friends today. He had friends in Medford, and they had a place for me. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try it. And so I went out there. I lived with them for a few months, kind of on a temporary basis, just while I got like established in this area. So I got a job, like a temp job through Office Team. So I was doing kind of like odd jobs for a while. I worked at Toyota in Watertown for a few months, and then I got a job at my current job, actually, kind of helping with HR stuff and like keeping like spreadsheets for like training, like employee training and stuff like that. And so that job went temp to perm, and that was 10 years ago, and I still work there now.
Good. Do you like what you do now?
It's okay. It pays the bills, but like I said earlier, I'm lazy and I'm not ambitious. So I'm not looking to do more. I like the job because I can work from home, because the the work's not demanding, I can get done what's expected of me, and I'm not taking work home with me. Like, it's not on my mind, like on the weekends or after 8 o'clock. Like, once I'm done for the day, I'm done, and then I can shut it off. And I'm happy with that. Like, I make enough money that I'm comfortable, and I
Sure.
don't want to advance and like have a more stressful job just to have more money, because money is not as important to me as being happy. So that's where I
Sure.
am.
That's reasonable. So my next question was, what do you see next? But it sounds like more of the same would be good with you.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, I feel like I'm unusual, and sometimes I feel like I know I'm not, but I feel like it's the wrong answer to say like I don't have ambition to advance my career. But I'm honestly happy with that. Like, Tim is a great boyfriend. He doesn't mind what unless we haven't had a conversation about something yet. He doesn't mind that I'm not like aiming to make more money. So
Hope this isn't the start of that. No, I don't think there's an answer you're supposed to have. I think you're supposed to have the answer you want, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
I
so I'm good.
certainly think ambition is a huge downfall for lots of people. um, but I did want to give a little shout out. It wasn't like quite the right moment whenever it happened in chat, but Oni did predict that you as a teacher, that the line would be, "Listen here, you little shits, shut up and learn." um,
Oh, the times I wanted to say it.
And Eric followed up with a proposed Spanish quote that I'm afraid my knowledge of Spanish is not advanced enough to read or be sure whether it's appropriate to say on stream.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know Lisiada. See, that's how out of practice I am. But Oni apparently knew because he laughed his ass off and then died.
Perfect. And Tim is kind enough to give you your answer about the conversation in chat.
Okay.
So
No, he said that he wants to be
Yeah.
a stay-at-home boyfriend. So
yeah.
oh yeah, that's good luck. This might not work out.
All right, let's talk a little bit about identity. What elements of your identity do you think are most important to you? Or to sort of ask the same question in a slightly different way, how would you sum yourself up in a few words?
I think the gamer word with the Y is probably it. Like, those are my two biggest things, and not even the gay part. Like, I like playing video games. It's what I do in my downtime. I watch certain like TV shows, or I read occasionally, but gaming is really my escape. It's what I like to do. It keeps me entertained and down to earth and happy. So gamer without the like negative connotations of gamer is how I would identify myself, I guess. I'm an introvert by all means. I think, and this is probably true of most introverts, but like, we're cool around people we know, and like, once I get to know you, I'm comfortable and I can be more myself. But like, I don't seek out social opportunities or anything like that. But so introverted, gamer. I am a homosexual, but I don't make that I mean, I have this bracelet on, but that's about it. I probably have some gamer pins on my backpack, but it's part of who I am, but not like a huge part of who I am, I would say.
Sure. Pursuant to that, just since this is for the like Boston Gamers with a Y, did you have a formal coming out, or was it just like, how did
Yeah,
that work for you?
it was stressful actually, because I did come from such a small town.
Sure.
I didn't know what to expect as far as coming out goes, and this was, I mean, I'm not that old, but I was in college from 2000 2004. I came out when I was 20. So I didn't come out. I wasn't out like when I was in school or high school or anything like that.
Sure.
And so it was kind of a big deal for me. But I came out first to one of my good friends in college. And I cried for probably like 2 or 3 hours straight. Like, I've never cried that much. It was just it's fear and like not knowing what to expect, uncertainty, and she accepted me. It was like, she held me and she was with me the whole time. And she ended up toward the end of that conversation telling me she was bi, and like, it was good. Like, everything was fine. There was just a lot of fears. I remember later that day that I had come out to her, we had band practice, and I remember feeling like so exposed. Like I'd never felt like that before. Like I felt like everyone could see right through me. I felt hollow. It was a really weird sensation. But like as people found out, and as it, I don't know, it all amounted to nothing in the end. Like nobody cared. Nobody gave me any shit for it or anything like that. I didn't have really any negative outcomes from coming out. And then I came out to my mom. So I was like home for Christmas, like that same year or something like that. And I was talking to my boyfriend at the time on the phone, and she's like, Jason's not just a friend, is he? I'm like, well, no. And I think there was more crying there because my mom and I are the biggest crybabies on the fucking planet. But but no, mom, dad, as much as I hated him, my dad never gave me any shit for being gay. My sister was fine with it. I never did have a formal coming out to my extended family. It was kind of like if they found out, they did. But I very quickly got to a point where I was like, I don't care what people think, and I don't care if people know or don't, like, because it's not their business. And if they find out, that's on them. So that's where I kind of am now.
Sure, that seems reasonable. What do you think your experience of community over the course of your life has been? Do you have any experiences where you felt like you were excluded, or anything like that, or has it been easygoing?
I'd say mostly easygoing. Like I said, in college, anyone that knew that I was gay didn't care. So I found activity communities. Like I was in band with those people. I did a cappella. So I had friends in that group. I never felt like I didn't belong anywhere that I wanted to be. And I think places that I felt like I might not belong, I veered away from anyway. So I've never really, thankfully, #blessed, had to deal with anything where I felt like I was not welcome.
We have some excitement in the chat regarding your singing.
Oh no, no, this was y'all. I was in college 20 years ago.
Some encouragement to sing karaoke. I won't tell you where I was 20 years ago.
In utero?
The answer is kindergarten. So everyone will expect you at the first karaoke after quarantine.
I'm so bad now. Do you hear my voice? I feel like a smoker.
Now even Jordan is excited, so now you have to make good on that.
Jordan gets excited about anything I say.
Your own personal hype squad.
Yes.
So speaking of community, we can pivot to talking a little bit about the Boston Gaymers server.
Sure.
How long have you been involved in the Boston Gaymers?
I'm looking. This is me looking at the date in the corner of my monitor. It's 3.5 years ish.
Okay.
Give or take, I think early, like first half of 2017.
Okay. It's like early gamer period, right?
Yep.
Right toward the beginning.
Yep. Tim joined first. Tim's my boyfriend. He joined before I did. He found the community, and he kept he would interact with these people, and he would have a good time. And eventually, I'm like, I want to check it out too, and so I did.
Perfect. Were you? How long was it before you were a moderator?
I don't know. I should have anticipated this question and looked, because I know you always ask this. I honestly have no recollection of how long it was until I became a mod. Tim, I think, was a mod, and I became a mod through him, because at the time it was small, and so there weren't moderators. We didn't need a lot of moderation. It was more the people that were running things, and so he was involved in that, and instead of me just having to peek over his shoulder to see what he was typing in the moderator channel, I was like, oh, just put me in there, and so they did.
Sure. Can you, so I know, and you alluded to this slightly actually in the last answer, I know from the amount of time that I've been in the gamers and just what I know about the history that it was probably like very different at that period in time. Can you describe just like a little bit more what it was like in comparison to what it's like now?
Yeah, this was like there were maybe 50 to 100 people, whereas now I think we're over 800. It was like very much a group of like-minded individuals who would want to spend time together. Um, and so they would like go to a restaurant and like get dinner together, or like they'd say, "Hey, I'm going to have game night at my place," like, and they would do that. And so it was very much just a small group of friends hanging out playing games, and we all just happened to have in common that we were in the LGBT community.
Sure. Um, do you have any favorite memories or stories from the entire time you've been in BG that like spring to mind that you'd like to share?
No, it's been mostly a nightmare. I haven't like no, just kidding.
Well,
No, I think like Pride is always one of the more exciting events that we do. And so anybody that's joined for this Corona year it's too bad, because that's one of the big times when we get together and we're ridiculous. It's one of the times I kind of get a little bit outside of my introverted mindset. Like, I wore the stupid rainbow zebra onesie that year, like out into Boston and on the train. Like, it's so not me, but I feel like that's the one time a year I can do stuff like that, and it's kind of fun just to get together around people that kind of have this similar shared experiences. I know obviously not everyone who's gay has the same experience, but
sure.
kind of that same background and that same story. It's fun. It's a good time.
There's a lot of excitement over the onesie in the chat.
Oh my god, those onesies were crazy. The nice thing though, it was short sleeved, and so it was super comfortable.
And Jordan says that was his first time meeting everyone. So
Oh, was it? I don't remember you.
I need to keep a fan here so that I can thwart. It's unfortunate that I'm lacking that, I guess. Funny though, I think we made it all the way through Oni's without me feeling like I needed to thwart, but it's yours that I that I need a fan on.
I just say it for jokes. I don't really mean anything.
Oh, I know. Fair enough. What makes BG a home for you? Why have you stuck around through all the nightmares and misery?
Because of the actual nightmare and misery that it isn't. Because I have friends here. I have people I care about. And people that I care about probably more than a lot of friends I've made over time. No offense to anybody that knew me in earlier years, but I don't know. I feel very close to these people. We've had a lot of shared experiences over. And I think it's the nature of Discord, and with me being an introvert, I have Discord up on the second monitor all the time. It's always up. If you ever get approved as a new member at 5 a.m, it's because I'm up and I have it open and I see you join. So like, I always am kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. I'm in part of these conversations. The gamers are just all people that I know well, that I enjoy talking to, that I enjoy spending time with, that I enjoy playing games with. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I've had a really good time here, and I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do without these people.
Yeah, that's nice. The Gamers Chat gave you a shout out for being our late night crew, which I'll agree to.
There's a few of us.
I feel like I used to be morning crew, like 6 a.m. on, but not anymore.
I'm sure we've crossed paths. You know the meme with Banya and number 5 from Umbrella Academy, like passing each other in the cars? That's us.
So do you have goals for the server going forward? What do you want for the community next?
As we've mentioned, I'm not ambitious, so any goals that there might be are probably not mine. I'm very much a support role. I don't feel as though I am I don't consider myself a leader, in the sense that I'd be surprised if someone followed me. But I think one thing that I can say is that I know that I've really appreciated that we've gotten a lot more recently. We've had more people that are not male gay mers, like they're not
Sure.
gay men, like
Yeah.
whether they be women, bisexual, or other genders. I'm really enjoying seeing that aspect of the Discord grow, and interacting with people that don't identify as male has been surprisingly refreshing. Like, not that I like it, I get, not that it's surprising that it was an enjoyable experience, but just that I was like, wow, I've really been missing this and didn't realize it, because I do, like I said, I very much I feel integrated with the community, and with it being so male dominated, um, it's kind of like you forget the joys of what else is out there. Like, oh yeah, women. And
No.
it's really been delightful to see that community grow. And we've always had to have we've always had women join, and like they find that, well, this is all dudes, and they kind of lose interest and don't stick around. But I think that finally we are starting to get a crew that feel welcome, and that feel that they have friends and people here that they can stick around with, which I love. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's awesome too. That's definitely, I think, one of the better developments in recent times. Okay, we'll take another quick pivot here, and we can talk about some of your hobbies and some media that you enjoy. Uh,
Sure.
so, what exactly do you do with your spare time? What are your favorite hobbies?
This talking to you, Caleb. No.
you do spend a significant amount of your free time talking to me on HOTS, at
That's
least.
true. So yeah, Heroes of the Storm is my go-to probably. I got into the alpha of that game back in 2015, and I've been playing it ever since. So Heroes of the Storm is a big game, but gaming, like I said, is probably my biggest thing. I've been playing Civilization, and I've been video gaming. I think I was 5 when like the Nintendo Entertainment System came out. Like, I've been a gamer all my life. And so that's really probably the biggest thing that I do in my downtime. It's not the only thing. Like I said, I mentioned I do read occasionally, and even that I'm not good at. Like, not that I'm bad at reading, but I'm not good at finding stuff I like. Because I read the Wheel of Time series as a kid. It's a fantasy series, and it's currently, and now that it's over, I think it's 14 books long. And this series consumed, I was going to say my childhood, but my entire life. Like, my friend Adam, I'll mention, this is the third time this boy is getting mentioned in my interview here. He introduced me to the first book, and I said, if you like it, it's probably stupid, because we had that kind of sarcastic relationship. And so I didn't read it, and then I finally did read it, and I loved it. And then so I read the whole series, and I read up to like the 6th book, and then the 7th book or whatever wasn't out yet. And so by the time new books had come out, I'd be like, I don't remember what happened. And so I read them again. And then the same process, like throughout for forever. And so I've been reading this one series of books my entire life, and I love it. And it's probably my favorite. But the problem is that it's ruined every other book series for me. I don't feel like anything stands up to it. And I finally found one. I'm reading, oh God, I don't even remember the bloody name. Here, let me pull up. I'm going to find it because I'm old and I forget this. The Lightbringer series by Brett something or other. Let me see about this book. Brent Weeks, the Lightbringer series. It's the first series I've read since the Wheel of Time that has actually held my interest. So reading, and then TV, some Netflix shows. I mentioned Umbrella Academy earlier. Tim and I haven't watched the second series yet. The second series, no, season. See, I don't speak English, let alone the second season. We haven't watched that yet. I haven't watched the second season of The Boys, but I did watch the first season of that. I have to catch up on a lot of shows. The 100 just ended, and I haven't watched the series finale of that yet. That's on my DVR. Legends of Tomorrow was one that I watched recently. That I did like that. So I like superhero, magic, fantasy, like whatever medium it may be. That's kind of like where I go, sci-fi, fantasy. And then gaming, Civilization, Heroes of the Storm, like Blizzard games like Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo. So there's so many. I play Among Us too, which is recent.
What makes for great TV for you? So you mentioned several shows.
Yeah.
What's the what do you turn on for? Like, turn on the TV for?
Characters
Again.
are, I think, I never really think about it, but when I do, it's I think it's characters, like character building and character growth. As much as having an interesting story, like I want there to be like action. I want there to be like superpowers or magic of some sort. I want there to be something not of this world, because I live in this world and I experience that myself. I don't need that on TV. And so it's things like that, like it's like with Star Trek, like having like super advanced technology that I'll never see, or magic or abilities or things like that. Like the old TV show Heroes was one that I really liked, where there was like people that genetically developed these powers and things like that. So I think it has to be a combination of good characters that I find interesting, that grow, that that are kind of robust, and that they have like strengths and weaknesses and that kind of thing. Which is one thing that I really liked about the 100, which I mentioned before, is like really great characters, like people that have to make hard decisions. And this poor girl beats herself up because she has like, I have to kill like 5 people to save 1,000 people, and like having to make decisions like that. And like, I don't know, it's like, it's cliche maybe, but like that kind of thing makes it interesting.
Sure. That makes sense. Are you a movie person at all?
I want to be, and I find that I'm not. There are certain movies, like I love James Bond. Like I've watched like all of those. I'm really looking forward to No Time to Die coming out, which they pushed that back again. I just found out yesterday they pushed it back to April. But yeah, so James Bond movies, action movies, the kind of like the same thing with movies for me as TV shows.
Sure. Um, there's a
Revolution.
rep for, yeah, I was gonna say 100 in the chat from Hecky, but then
Yes.
also a question about if you like post-apocalyptic shows
Yeah.
like Revolution.
That's what 100 is, Jordan. If you haven't seen the 100, it is post-apocalyptic. It's one of it. I don't know if it's my favorite show, but I watched it and I liked it, and so I kept watching it. Like it's really good. It's Revolution. I did watch like two seasons of, but it got canceled, and when shows get canceled, I lose interest. I'm like, if I don't have guarantee that I'm going to see it through to the end, I never watched Sense8 for that reason. Recommend it to me all you want. Oh, there's a movie that wraps it up. I probably will never watch it because it got canceled early. So I do look at that. Like if I'm searching for something new to watch, I'm going to see, did it get cut off before its time? And if it did, I might not watch
it. And Dizza recommends Raised by Wolves.
I have never even heard of that, but I will mark it down.
I've not either. I'll have to throw it on my list as well. I have a note here from my editor that indicates that you may like the movie Clue. Is that accurate?
So if you ever need to break into one of my accounts, and the password question is what's your favorite movie, it is Clue. So go ahead and use that. I love Clue.
Which of the 3 endings is your preferred?
That's a dumb question. That's the question of somebody who doesn't watch Clue. They're all good endings, and they all fit the story in their own way.
Okay. I have to reveal that I have not ever seen Clue. Was not aware that it had 3 endings. So that is a question not written by me.
The thing is with Clue, like when it originally released in theaters, you would get a different ending depending on what theater you went to. Like if you watch it on DVD now, you see all 3. It says, here's what happened, and then it goes, but what if this happened? And then finally it goes, but here's what really happened. And so you see all 3 kind of in a series. But back when it first came out, you would only get one of the 3, and so people would all go to discuss it and be like, hey, what did you think of the ending? And like, wait, that didn't happen. What do you mean this happened? Like, so I think that was pretty awesome. Like I did not watch it when it was released. I did not watch it in theaters. I don't know when it was released, to be honest, but yes, it's a very awesome movie.
Gotcha. Do you have, so you mentioned some video games you're playing, some that you like. Do you have an all-time favorite or a couple all-time favorites, or are they too hard to rank?
that one. So Civilization that I'm playing here, like I mentioned, this game has been with me forever. I'm not particularly a strategy game player, but I think because I've grown up with Civ, I played the first one on the Super Nintendo. I remember for hours and hours. This game I have over, I think, 1,050 hours right now, or something like that. So it's definitely always kind of a go-to for me. And I say I'm not like a strategy game player because I try to play other games. Like I play like Stellaris, or I'll play like Crusader Kings, or I'll play these other Total War. I don't get into any of them. I'll play them for a couple hours and I get either overwhelmed or confused or bored and I quit. So I do like this one as kind of an exception to the strategy genre, I think. But other than that, RPGs like Mass Effect and Dragon Age are big ones, though I've never finished Inquisition because I do too many side quests. Um, Mass Effect Andromeda, if you haven't played it because you thought that it got bad reviews when it came out, give it another shot because it really is a great example of how Mass Effect is a fun RPG third person shooter game. What else? Final Fantasy games and Dragon Quest games. Turn-based RPGs are bread and butter for me. So basically any of those except for Final Fantasy 15, which was tragedy. I thought it was because I didn't like that it wasn't turn-based combat anymore, but then I played the Final Fantasy 7 remake, which is action, and I loved it. So I don't know what Final Fantasy 15's problem is, but it didn't stick with me when the rest of the series did.
Sure. What do you think are so you've mentioned a lot of different types of games there, so this question might be hard to field. What do you think are the elements you look for in a game? What makes it stellar?
Yeah. The same thing as for TV and movies. It has to have good character development. I like RPGs, like I said, and a big part of that is the characters. Like getting to know Cassandra in Dragon Age Inquisition, and even in the one before that, to have her turn from this bitch to somebody who actually has like real motivations and a softer side and a history, and getting to know the characters in a game. I think that's important, and Final Fantasy's always been that for me. Like Final Fantasy IV stands out as like one of the huge ones, like Cecil and Rosa and their relationship, and Kane's betrayal, and like all the like. I remember these characters 30 years later because they were so stellar and well written and interesting to me. And I think that goes for all media for me, is the characterization and then fun action with spells and abilities and superpowers.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Very consistent across media genres. So I kind of have a final question here to wrap things up, but it's a little out of left field, but I think it really is important, and it's something people are going to want to know, which is, how is Zelpa's the cat reacting to both of you being home every day?
He's so obnoxious. he's not doing well in my sense. Like, he's loving it. He's actually sleeping over there right now, and if my house weren't a mess, I would pan the camera over to him. But he loves it. And you know how the meme is that, like, oh, cats sleep like 20 hours a day. No, he's like, this is probably the sleep he'll get. He'll be up on my legs. Like, when I game, I'm like this. So I'm leaning forward right now, but I lean back in this chair. My legs are up on like the couch, and he gets up on my legs. And so yeah, he doesn't sleep anymore. He just loves attention. Always bothering me. But I love it.
That's reasonable. Well, it's good to hear that he's living the high life, whether he's making things more difficult for you or not. Yeah. All right, so I think that's all I had planned out here. So I want to thank you for joining me this evening. I appreciate you allowing me to interrogate you for an hour here. I will go through my litany of thank yous, starting, of course, with Head Nisk, or Zach, who is kind enough to run tech for me, including on the day that he moved. So
Awesome.
he's incredibly kind, and I don't know what to do without him. I had to come up with a contingency plan in case he couldn't make it, and my contingency plan was horrible. So I was so glad that he was kind enough to make it work, even though it was a rough time for him. So I also want to thank Oni, who edits all of my scripts. No better editor will you find, and this time they actually had several good ideas for questions that I got to include, which is helpful because sometimes my brain doesn't come up with good angles or as good of angles as there can be. So I really appreciate that. I also just want to shout out a thank you to all the mods and planners that make all of our events happen, including this one. And most importantly, last but certainly not least, thank you to our audience for showing up and keeping chat active. I have a lot of fun interacting, and it's pretty great. So I think that's all I have. Do you have any final words for our viewers, Joe?
Yes, I'm apologizing that I barely played this game while I was talking because I can't do two things at once. So if you're looking for any sort of gameplay, you didn't get it. I'm sorry for that. But no, thanks for having me. It was fun, and it wasn't as anxiety-inducing as I thought it would be.
Great. Thank you all, and have a good night.